Actually, I don't have one from a couple of days ago. I got one from last month.
Oh, no, this was in an email confirming the meeting today.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's not an attachment, it's a,
It's buried in an email. It's not an attachment.
so my last email, I've had one email from her on this email since August 13th. And that was just this meeting. Oh, I see the update. I
There
never
should have been one last Wednesday,
got it. When?
and it's a link in the email.
Well, that just takes me to the Zoom workplace.
well, that's the wrong one.
That's the only one I have since August 13th. Unless you sent it to the other one and it wouldn't have come in. Because sometimes you send it to my Comcast, not happening. Can you
Would you like
resend it?
me
to
to
my,
send it again?
Yeah, but not to Comcast. You gotta send it to the Gmail one.
It's Gmail.
Okay. Let's try it again.
Okay. Okay, this is the quickest one that I have. Should I just send it to you, or does everybody need it?
No.
Okay, I'll just send it to you.
In the meantime, we can open the meeting. We have a quorum actually in the room. Your FaceTime.
I know, in person.
Okay, so Emily's here, Steve is here. Bill is here, Peter. And then. Oh, great.
Just Dave,
Who's up there? Just Dave?
everyone else is up there, it's staff.
5, 6. Who's up there for staff? I see Kim.
Kim,
Yep.
Chris, Jack and Tara.
Aaron. Oh, there's Dave in North Carolina. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the meeting at 1:09 while I'm waiting for that to come in. And this is the meeting of the Nantucket Mattocket Harbor Plan Committee meeting on September 15th, 2025. Location 131 Pleasant Street. This is a hybrid meeting. We have members up on screen as well as in the room. So I'm going to call you to make sure everybody can hear me. Emily,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
Bill,
Here.
Peter,
Here.
Dave,
Here.
and myself. So that is 6. That's good. And we have staff. Jeff is in the room.
I'm here.
Kim,
Here.
Kristen. Here. Jack,
Here,
Tara.
Here.
Okay, is anybody else up there?
Nope.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Steve, all those in favor? Steve,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and myself. Okay. Approval of the minutes of August 4th, 2025.
I just sent them out like 20 minutes ago, but then I printed them out. And Dave, I just sent them out, so you should have them. And they're very brief, so it won't take you more than a couple of minutes to read them.
They don't have to be anything more than brief. The only thing that really matters is what we do for a vote.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Steve made a motion to approve. Is there a
Second.
second? Phil seconded. All those in favor? Steve,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Phil,
Aye.
Peter,
All right,
Dave.
Well, I haven't read them, but I'll abstain.
Okay, one abstention,
and I want to say
and myself in favor. Okay,
on the YouTube channel, on our YouTube playlist, the minutes are listed as September 4 instead of August 4.
okay.
So that should be changed.
Now, at our next meeting, Peter's gonna give us all the dates of the ones that he hasn't done yet. So if we don't meet after that, we can ratify whatever Peter wants to turn in for those earlier, like a year ago, earlier meetings, and then we don't have to meet just to ratify them. So the next meeting, we have to put down all those dates. And then you just do them when you do them.
But how is that legal if you're gonna approve them if I haven't done them yet?
We're gonna leave it up to you.
You're gonna trust me?
You betcha. You betcha.
I think so.
Slog through 'em.
Comments in there.
You can always send them out in draft form and you guys can reply directly to Peter. As long as you don't reply all of them, buddy. And if you want to go back and try to look at your notes from a year ago, knock yourself out. Outstanding comments, discuss outstanding comments on the draft plan. We had a couple of things that did come up at the public meeting. That we have to address. Before we finalize a plan. One was disabled access. Which we never covered, and we should have. And what was the other one, Kim? Do you remember what the other one was? There were two things.
I
Well, if
can
you-
go back into my notes. I don't know if anybody else remembers. I just remember that one being the big one.
The most recent version that Kim sent out, which was just last week, which you didn't see,
Which I still don't have, so.
you should see it. Because there are a lot of changes. There are track changes. There are a lot of changes.
Kim, I still don't
And I
have that.
started looking at it and I sort of like said to myself, I gotta understand what's behind all of this. I mean, it's not a word here or there. Is that right, Kim?
So, so let me back up on just the plan. So we sent it out to all the responsible and participating parties, who then took a look at it and looked at their sections as to what they were identified for. And I would say 90% of the track changes are just people kind of shuffling their organizations, saying, no, we're not a part of this, or moving themselves to participating parties. And so that was the majority. Occasionally, somebody had a comment on a recommendation that they were tagged under and thought that, you know, an edit should come in. There are some outstanding comments on the side, which are ones that I wasn't sure what to do with, if we wanted to address them or not. So I thought that the comments that I did track changes for were fairly straightforward. But if anybody disagrees with that or I kept it in track changes because I wanted to make sure that people had a chance to see what was changed in case they did have an issue with it. So that's kind of the breakdown of the document. So it looks like there are a lot, but I would say, you know, 90% are just the responsible and participating parties.
I don't have it still. Where did you send it?
To the AC one at Gmail.
No? axarena1
Yep.
at gmail.com.
Yeah.
And you just sent me the actual draft.
No,
None
I
of
sent a link again. It's all
Oh.
in a link because it's not
The only
gonna,
link I have is to the Zoom link. That's it.
No, so if you close that. Just hit the X
Yeah.
and then just click just anywhere and then scroll down. This right here.
Yeah, I don't know that stuff happens that way.
yeah,
That's not-
it's impossible to send it through an email.
too
It's too big of a
to-
document.
To send as an attachment.
I gotta save it now.
All right,
All
we
right.
have it.
The one thing, did you deal with the handicap access?
It was already located in the public access section. I can go back and make sure that it's emphasized. But we already do have details of that in the public access.
Does that include the, not loading, does that include? Only on page 4, I'm sitting there.
Here,
Does that include, the lifts at the town pier? And chapter 91 and anything else that has to do with those lifts?
Wi-Fi network.
We will, I don't believe it does right now. We can make sure it does.
Because that was, she spoke a lot about that because her mother does the lift or used to do the lift before it left in a storm at the town pier.
Yeah.
And the ramps are not 1 in 20 and not even make 1 in 12.
Yeah.
And there are other places of public access around the harbors, both harbors,
Mhm.
where a disabled person does not have access. And they don't
Yeah.
have access at some of the beach access points because they don't have the Moby mats, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. So all of that really should be in this plan because it was ignored before. And now we have to be more specific.
Yeah, in terms of the beach access, are you saying, you know, I know they have those wheelchairs that have the, you know, beach access on them. Should they be at more beaches? I believe I've seen it at Surfside.
No, my group paid for them. And they're difficult to maintain, they're difficult to keep under control, they are chained up at night at the jetties in Surfside. But there are other public access beaches that we're talking about improving access for the general public. That's gonna require Moby mat,
What?
Moby mat or some such.
Moby,
They're linked together.
It's a
Like
mobile,
a fiberglass mat that you roll out that you can roll stuff on.
Or rubber.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
okay.
they're
How do you
just-
spell it?
they're-
M-O-B-Y?
Yeah, they're just.
MOBI.
It's MOBI.
MOBI, but there's various forms of it. They have one, they have a different one. They used to have one down at, I can't call it the Gaza Strip, but it's the Gaza Strip. And they used to have a different kind over there at the Betty's, and there are various kinds, but if we're asking for improvement of public access, whether it's, Hubbard Avenue or, out there in Monomoy, we have to include that as part of the public access when we're talking about that stuff. It can't just be exclusive to those two beaches that happen to have the handicap wheelchairs. There are people that are perfectly able to not use one, but they need to not step on sand all the way to the water. So this is what she was trying to say. Dave?
The other thing is that, and I just don't know, and I'll be back next week, but I don't know that either of the yacht clubs, or the boat basin, I guess what I'm getting at is the public facilities within the, Mattocket Marine, within the harbor plan purview. I don't know that they have handicap accessibility or whether they provide handicap slips or not, but
Mhm.
I think we need to find that out. And maybe a table would be a way to do that. Or you could, that table that you and I looked at this week, Kim,
Yeah.
with the facilities.
Yep.
Maybe we could add a column there of handicap accessible. And
Mm-hmm.
then we can reference that if they don't have it, and we can reference that and say they need to be, that it needs to be improved at those places.
Well, I think we can make that recommendation, but some of those facilities are public access, private property. And they don't need to necessarily, we can't necessarily force them to add that unless they're doing
No.
some kind of significant change. Like I know, a place like the Ships Inn doesn't have an elevator, doesn't have a ramp, and because they're so old, they haven't done any significant changes,
No,
they're not
they haven't.
required to.
They haven't come
upgrade.
after it. I mean, I was on the Commission on Disability for
So I
28
think-
years,
I
so I
think we
dealt
can-
with a lot of these.
I think it's good to put in a recommendation to the other places that they consider it, but I'm not sure we can,
No, but when we're talking about
Well,
public access, we gotta
the public access.
drill,
down here,
down
yeah.
here.
And-
Jetty,
But
Dione
where-
Loop.
But where you do have common ground here, is there chapter 91 license?
Yeah.
And and I don't know that it's included in Great Harbor Yacht Club, or I'm thinking of the most recently
Right.
White Elephant.
built facility.
Mhm.
But I think a box, and then if if they do renovations, that should be included in an upgrade of their new permit.
Yeah, so Kristen just noted in the chat that we do actually have this as a recommendation, which is to inventory and map all existing public access sites. And then we write, later on, assess each site's condition, including signage, parking, handicap accessibility, et cetera. And then clarify the legal status of the property, including the filing.
Well, I know when
paperwork.
you build a new facility, like we did with the town pier, it was a requirement
Yep,
that based on however many slips you have or whatever, you have to have so many.
mhm,
And in the case of the town pier, when you went from 55 slips to 100 plus slips, you had to have 2 handicap accessible slips.
yep.
So
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely agree with you on all of the above. I guess the question is, does this, we do have it in the plan, but do we need, more emphasis on it? And that's, something we could do through a recommendation. It does seem as though, based on what you're saying, we need to do an inventory of what actually is out there. It's not, it sounds like it's not exactly completely straightforward in that we need to, there needs to be like chapter 91 licenses looked at. So doing an inventory of all of that seems like the first recommendation. And then the second would be, once that is done, make sure that like the places that need handicap accessibility have, or that either that need it or that it says in their chapter 91 license that is something that then they would be, then they would need to do.
Right.
Yeah, Kim, I'm sort of wondering, clearly the recommendations that we do have for it are specific to reviewing chapter 91 licenses, but I mean, based on the conversation and all the comments, I wonder if it would make sense to have a new separate recommendation that focuses on it, sort of maybe even above and beyond the chapter 91 requirements, if it's something that we want to recommend that whether it's town-owned land or just public property in general, that there's more emphasis placed on ensuring
The rest
accessibility.
of the text may not be like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just to
I-
sort of
I
add
don't
that
think-
additional emphasis, because right now handicap access is like one thing listed in a lot of them in the other recommendations. So maybe we just create a simple recommendation that just focuses on that accessibility for public properties.
Especially if they.
I don't think you
improve
can
that
emphasize
access.
it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either, because especially if we're recommending improvement to some of these access points.
Right,
You can't do that without providing access to all.
right.
Like when you change a door on a public building, then you have
Right.
to make handicap accessible, period. You don't have any choice like to get a variance because it's historic or some such thing. But we're talking about access for all on town-owned properties, and that means those who are in wheelchairs or those who have some ambulatory difficulties or walker or whatever. And the baby boomers, we're outnumbering the rest of you now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think creating a separate recommendation on this makes a lot of sense.
And there was a second thing that came up at that meeting. I wrote down
Can't
two
remember
things,
what
there
it
were two
was.
things.
I feel like there was a second one as well.
Because Campbell brought up all of this, and then I believe. Kim, didn't your
Was it-
father
yeah,
bring up
was it
something?
something your
Was your
father
dad bring up
raised?
something?
Oh, gosh, my dad. God.
He brought up something that was very interesting and we needed to have a conversation about it. I'll have to go
Yeah.
back and find my.
Let me,
I-
yeah, I'm trying
I
to find
don't-
my notes.
I remember we had all agreed that we needed to talk about, I can't remember what he brought up now.
I know where he was standing. I can tell you what he was wearing. I just can't tell you what he said.
I know.
Oh, I know what it was. It was wasn't it about the native plants? That he thought that, he stood up a couple times, but one of them was about more information on native plants. And Emily had said that there is a pamphlet out there on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was something a little bit more detailed that we
Yeah.
needed to add to the report.
I know.
I'll have to go back.
Trying to find my notes from that day. Well, good news is I have his phone number, so I can ask him.
I mean, the thing about the handicap accessible and I'm just speaking for myself, but
Mhm.
well, how important it is, number one, but number two, that day when that lady spoke, I mean, I had the big light bulb on my head because, I mean, it was like we had, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I'd just forgotten. I just hadn't, we just hadn't had that in-depth conversation about it. And then it was so important.
I think it was
after
just
she-
sort of assumed. It was sort of assumed until Campbell got up and gave us a little
History.
more of the nuts and bolts about her mother at the town
Right.
pier and all that stuff. And I said, holy crap, we've been talking about public access for 2 years. And that means access for all.
Yeah,
The other,
yeah.
the other big topic I remember coming up that people were talking about that meeting a lot was fertilizer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm wondering if to do with that, but
Could
I
it have
don't.
been something about, is that?
Nothing is more irritating than the fertilizer issue. We
that
don't
was-
have any control.
But that did come
We
up,
do.
multiple people spoke about it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
maybe that was another hot button
I
topic.
think so. I did find my recommendations, or my, notes, and yeah, generally spoke for the need for more outreach and education on water quality issues and the need for more public forums.
I think we covered water quality.
Education,
pretty well.
education, education.
Eelgrass
Yeah.
plant, fertilizer's kind of not really our purview. I mean,
Yeah.
In there.
But it's in there too, so.
I just sent you that link, Linda.
I'm good now, it's just weird, it's just.
But you should see it because there's a lot of changes. We're not in a position to approve it today with all the changes, I don't think.
Let's see Jeff and I just saved. What are the changes? What's in blue? I don't see any track change. I've got it. I don't have anything on the right side. I just got a margin with nothing in it.
Well, scroll down, you'll see all of the track.
Well, I see a lot of blue.
That's,
If-
that's.
if you see
blue
one of
stuff is-
These little comment boxes,
I got
You-
no comment boxes on
if
it.
you
No,
click on,
It's just not, there you go. Just pass
That's
it.
one,
They-
and that's on page 17, that's it.
if you
Well,
click on
there are a
that,
lot
I
of
think
them.
they might all show up, or a lot of them will. At least that
And
one,
that was 8 pages later.
I don't think they come up on an iPhone.
probably not very
This
much.
bunch right here.
Yeah, they generally come up in the section that they relate to. Some of them relate to the whole plan, which in which case they're more upfront, but I think it's probably most useful for me to kind of go through those comments and I can read them and then we can discuss each comment that's on the side. And the actual track changes, I mean, a lot of it is just some editing of language or the change of responsible and participating parties. I don't believe there was anything really big that changed things fundamentally, but we can also look at the track changes after we go through the comments.
What's the blue in the paragraphs? Is that new?
That's
Yeah.
new.
Let's
Okay.
add
Some
them.
new, some edits, where it's
Nothing-
crossed off, it's an edit, and then some new language.
Okay,
If you see
You'll see the stuff on the right, if you see the little thing
comment,
on the right-hand margin, if
Yeah, I
you
don't
click
have
on
a
that,
comment
you'll see
box
the
at all.
comments.
this is
or like,
not one of your little fancy iPad things.
does it, do these little bubbles show up anywhere if you
No.
scroll through?
Well, I can put them up on the screen.
I do have some comments on the right, but there's no bubbles.
If you click on the comment,
Look over here,
it'll
Yeah.
show you where the comment originates from,
right here,
right?
Yep.
It's to, so if you find another comment where there's word,
and there's an arrow on the left. All right, but I have no bubbles, I just have.
look, you're passing all of it.
Right here.
No, keep going up. Anytime you see one of the little conversation bubbles,
And
you
click
just
on
gotta
it.
go slower, right? See, and there's some out here. So that's right here from Rocky. It's intended to be a VH regulation.
All right, so they're
So,
not in here necessarily, they're over there. Which is not in the document, it's outside my whole document. Okay, I just have a different pagination going on here.
It's not like the typical word track
Yeah, this is
changes.
far more difficult to follow on my computer.
Okay. Well, how about I just read through them?
Well, does anybody need that right now, or do you want to digest them? I got stuff that won't unhighlight.
Yeah, some are most are questions really. You know, the first comments all came from Libby and they're a little more high level. So yeah, feel free to read it yourself if that helps.
What page is the first comment?
It's page 8.
I've got something on page 6.
I think this is why it's helpful for me to read through them because that was just something between me and Kristen and it's not necessary for us to really talk about. It's just,
Well, that's why doing it this way as opposed to the ways you've done it in the past is much more difficult for me.
it's kind of necessary though, because these are high level like questions that I have to go through. There's not a way to put it in the text.
I don't have anything from you except for blue text on page 8. I don't have a
Page
bubble
7 is-
or anything.
Page-
Why don't you, talk us through them, Kim?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. If it's not working for somebody, you can let me know. But the first 4 questions are from Libby. First, she asked if there was going to be a prioritized list of projects and actions and wanted to see what you all thought of it. I mean, I think that is a good idea. We just would have to prioritize them. And I mean, we did prioritize the eelgrass ones.
Yes.
We have a lot more recommendations in this, so that might, I don't know. What do you guys all think?
I think that's a great idea because then we can sort of keep track of what they're supposed to be doing. What's the most important stuff?
And I guess my question would be, should we do that or should the implementation committee do that as their first task?
That might
Or
be.
they may get bogged down because they don't know the granular level that we're on. And it's fresh in our minds. I would rather tackle that and then throw it at them.
Well, we can make a recommended list. They can always alter it.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's recommended, not
Mhm.
Yeah.
required.
But Libby's looking for some guidance as to where they're gonna have to put funds to
Mhm.
generate some of this.
Yeah.
Good
I mean, I
idea.
think that makes sense. I guess what's the best way to do that? We did it through a Google form with the eelgrass management plan. There are just a lot more recommendations here. The way we did it with eelgrass was that we asked people, is this a high priority, medium, or low? And then we also had another column of how feasible is this? Is it very feasible, not very feasible? And then prioritize that way. It's just, it would be an internal committee exercise to do. It will be a long, kind of like a survey, and it would be fairly long because we have so many recommendations.
Well, I see you have here in the, when I can open it. Underneath the Libby comments, I see where you have, has there been a review of how the Harbors plan intersects with overlaps with integrates with any other plan of the town? I.e. hazard mitigation, open space, recreation, strategic, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think we've looked at,
I think.
How this
the
intersects with
development, that's
anybody
not
else.
Part of our mandate.
yeah, I don't know if we.
I believe it's our
Well,
mandate.
could we go back just quick? That's the next comment,
Yeah.
but could we just decide what we want to do with the prioritize list?
I mean, the only other, I think, option, given how long this plan is if we sort of divvied them up. If there is a way for, you know, a couple people to tackle a couple sections and then come back together, and obviously we all review them, but that would be one way to not make everyone have to go through the whole thing, but maybe it's better for all of us to go through all of them. I don't know.
I think the problem if you do it in sections
Yeah,
is that
Maybe
they're gonna
overlap.
get evaluated differently.
yeah. And you end up having to review them all anyway, so,
There's gonna be
I think
overlap.
if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do this, and I think the survey
yeah,
is probably the best way to do it.
yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. My guess would be it would take people 20 to 30 minutes to do it.
At least.
Yeah,
The eelgrass management plan one was like 15 to 20.
20, and that was much shorter.
Actually short.
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe then 40 minutes.
Mm.
If people are
Yeah.
okay with that. I mean, it's probably, it is the most efficient and effective way to do it.
Once we get it, can we start or stop? Do we have to, there's one of these things that once you start, you have to go to the end.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Ooh, It's a Google form. I don't know if anybody,
And we can use Qualtrics and that will give
Okay.
them the option to
okay.
start and stop.
If we got 20
Yeah.
minutes here.
That would be
there.
helpful. That would be helpful to not have to.
I'd
do it all
hate to
at
get
once.
3/4 of the way through and then I get a phone
Yeah.
call, I've gotta rush
you
out
lose
for
it.
something.
Yeah, it does require like thinking, because you're like, is this feasible? It's not feasible. So it is, you know, you might be like in the middle of if it's feasible or not. So it does require some thinking. Okay, let's plan on doing that. So then let's move on to the next one. If there's been a review of how the harbor plan intersects with / overlaps with, integrates with any of the other plans. I know, including hazard mitigation, open space and recreation.
The only one.
Yeah,
Closer
I
to-
think as we all,
No, but I
As-
think that's maybe the only one that we did talk about.
we talked
overlap
about
with, right?
stormwater a little bit too.
Well,
but-
that's in-
but we didn't
that's-
look at the plan
No.
to see how it goes.
That's in the next comment here.
I
But
mean,
is there-
UHI looked at the plans as we
Yeah.
were developing
Yeah.
things. That's part of the background research. We wanted to make sure that nothing in this plan conflicted with existing plans. And to the extent that we could amplify recommendations or findings from other plans, this plan did that. I think the cracks plan is a great example of that and probably the most obvious example, but we did look at a variety of plans and I think they're probably listed in the documents. So that's sort of been done.
Yep. Each section, whatever was the relevant plan that we needed to look at, we reviewed it. I looked at the transportation plan, open space and recreation plan, coastal resiliency plan. I think in the introduction, we talk about that a little bit, about the fact that one of our goals was to make sure that we were not inconsistent with any of the existing plans. The master plan, which I was very much hoping would have advanced, would have been a nice resource, but it hasn't gotten that far yet.
So I guess the answer is yes.
Yep.
There has been a review.
Great. Okay, moving on. Libby thought that, this is kind of more just textual. Sewer should be replaced by stormwater, or stormwater should be added to sewer. So everything should be sewer / stormwater in all the areas where stormwater is mentioned.
I was wondering how to refer to that. That's helpful.
Yeah. That's probably the
Yeah.
easiest way out.
Yeah, so sewer has a stormwater division is what it says.
Okay,
So is everybody okay with that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. This one is a little more
Yeah,
tricky.
Little weird.
So
Mhm.
suggest adding Steamship Authority, High Line, Nantucket Island Resorts, Chamber of Commerce, and Mariah Mitchell to all areas mentioning outreach and educational materials. The one issue with this is then they will need to review it and be okay with the fact that they're being mentioned for all of these.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like those are great resources, but I don't know.
Well, the problem when you start specifying, at least that's the way it works with the zoning bylaw. When you start specifying something, you leave out something.
Mhm.
More of a general statement, then we can do education wherever we want to do it. And we don't worry about leaving somebody out. When we
not-
start listing, we got a problem.
And not all those entities are specific to the educational and
Right.
Right.
for the recommendation that
I
we were
think
talking.
they can be
Right.
called upon for different initiatives.
We can disseminate stuff through the chamber, and we can, et cetera, but we can't start listing stuff in here. That is a nightmare.
So that's
Yeah,
another-
I mean, we could say something like, other tourist, I don't know, something about
mean,
other
it's-
tourist, spots, I don't know, something where tourists go.
It's not like you're gonna give each of them a copy of the plan. It's not like a pamphlet that they can hand
Right.
out as an entry point into the island. You're not gonna give them a copy of the plan and, have them disseminate it.
Looking in Nantucket, read this before you get off your boat.
Well, we
Yeah,
talked about educational materials anyway,
Right,
but
there's
we have to
specific
be
educational
specific.
materials we talked about would be great at the, the
And wherever.
mooring permit office or
Mm,
Right.
specific.
We can't start listing stuff that, especially things that are not like the chamber and Mariah Mitchell that are directly involved. So, yeah, no,
Okay,
no on that.
all right, I think we came to a conclusion on that one. Public comment from Robert Kiss. I'm not sure if any of you know him. So first of all, he just said something that we already agreed on, which was having a prioritized list in this plan. And it did say something about see what worked with the last implementation committee and what didn't. So basically thinking about which elements of the prior plan were adopted and which were not, which we do
I thought we
already
did.
have. We do have that spreadsheet. It's not included in this plan. It's very long. I don't know if there's anything we want to say or do with that.
Well, weren't we gonna do an addendum, a very simple chart, done, not done, not done, needs to be done? Cause we looked at that type of thing a long time ago as to what needed to come out of the other one, what didn't come out of the other one. And we've changed stuff along the way. Shouldn't we just do a simple cheat sheet from the other one, done, not done?
Well, the other thing about the done, not done was, I think everybody agreed when we went through that big exercise of going over the old plan of what had been, some of the plan was overrun by time because we were implementing stuff even while we were finishing up the plan and doing the implementation. And some of it didn't get done because of money. Some of it didn't get done because it didn't make sense. I don't know how you capture that, but
Yeah,
I think we should
Yeah.
focus on getting these recommendations completed and, you know, that was 2009. I think that we have a whole new plan now that we can all start working on implementation.
I agree.
Yeah, and the implementation is where we're gonna grind down and decide about lists
Yeah,
of things and how we're gonna do it. We're just
And
creating.
then, and Peter's right, and then in the implementation, back to that previous comment, you know, if we say, you know what, we've got to talk to the steamship authority because we've got to have them included, then that's what we'll do. You know, that's what that group will do. But I think we just ought to focus on moving forward and getting these things implemented.
And
A
we
lot of-
started with an evaluation.
we did, of
the
what happened in the
last
last one.
plan,
And that's
right?
why I'm
So
saying we have a
that.
chart that had, it needs to be done, not done. We had that whole spreadsheet. And a lot of the stuff that wasn't done or still needed to be done, we already carried over into this
Mhm.
plan. So we don't need to really,
I don't think we do.
For some, the ones that made sense, yes, you're exactly right.
Is there a statement anywhere in here that says that we went through that process and anything that was not accomplished, we've, you know, whatever, either determined wasn't appropriate or has been incorporated into this one?
yeah, that would make sense. And somewhere in the intro.
I think we could probably put more information on that, which might help with this. Yeah, I mean, we don't, unless I'm just taking a look now, I don't believe we really dig into that very much.
Yeah, I don't think
At
so,
least
Kim.
just say that we did that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
we did review, what,
Yeah, it
the
was the
status, we
report.
reviewed the status of the previous, of these
Yeah.
issues, previous report.
Mhm.
And we incorporated those that were continuing, and we did not include those that had already been accomplished. End of story. That's all you have to say.
Yep, that works.
Okay. Short and sweet.
Okay. Just writing that down. Okay, sounds good. Another question was, should we do any sort of a summary of the public survey responses?
Mm. No,
No,
An easy answer.
Yeah,
And what, as like an appendix? Is that common in other plans? Is that usually done?
I can't think of, Kristen is nodding her head.
Yeah, I think usually what we've included is the summary we presented to the committee. I don't recall specifically what we presented to you guys. But if that was written up, we can certainly include that as an appendix.
and also it was memorialized in the minutes. If somebody really wants to dig into what was, you know, discussed at those public forums, public surveys and stuff like that, they can find the information. I mean, it's there. It's just, I don't believe we need to make a summary of it.
If you guys already did a summary to present to us,
We can add that. as
then
an
you could add
appendix.
that as an appendix.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I would go out of your way to create it at this point.
I'd almost post it just separate on the webpage. Because
Yeah.
the more appendices you add,
The worse it's gonna get.
thicker and
Yeah.
thicker and thicker. And people's likelihood to read it is gonna go down, and down.
And it's not useful because a lot of the comments like gas and stuff like that, access, we've already incorporated in the plan. So if they want to see the actual result, go to the website
Yeah.
and play there.
Plus, you gotta give people an opportunity, the ones who
To
really
bitch
do
more.
read it, to go
Yeah.
and say, hey, how come you didn't include
Yeah, my
this comment?
comments, yeah. So let's
No.
not.
We've taken all the comments in, it's been worked into the plan, we're
Mhm.
tweaking it, now we're not rewriting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, let me add, the public meetings that we had where people said things, anything that the committee agreed was important, we added into the issue list that leads each of the sections. So that's where they're going to see their comment that they made. It may not be in the words that they use, but the issue will be listed there if the committee agreed it was an issue that they wanted to
Right.
take on.
The handicap thing is a perfect example,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't hear that before.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
We needed to hear that.
Mhm.
Yeah, oh, for
Good.
sure.
Yep.
Moving on.
Okay, so I don't know, how do you pronounce rock? Is it rock?
Rocky.
Rocky?
Yeah.
Okay. Would registration be mandatory or optional? Okay, this would be an
Am I on-
online
What
system
page am I
where,
on?
what's that?
What page?
It is page 14.
14, recommendation 11.
So the next one is, so we're looking at consider an online system where residents register their pools and associated maintenance.
13. Am I on the right page? I'm on page 13.
It's 14 for me, but it's probably just the way it opened.
I'm on 13, Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thinking about an online system where where residents register their pools, and would the registration be mandatory or optional? If it was a regulation, Health would be hard pressed to enforce compliance, and he understands the need but doesn't agree with this recommendation.
Well,
Jeff, does the health department keep track of who has a pool?
Currently, not really.
Okay.
when we're at Concom, we get asked for pools. We know where those are.
Yeah, but there's no like formal registration program or anything with pools.
Well, the health department sees, because I do this all the time, the health department sees them if they're on septic. Because they always have to sign off to make sure that they're not sitting on the field or they're sitting on the septic. So the health department sees all the pools that are on septics, theoretically. The HCC obviously sees every single one of them. We just type in pool and they all come up.
Yeah,
Same
but
thing with the
this is-
building department, has
this
to
is
be
more
for
about-
building permit.
Regulating
not-
discharge and keeping an eye on that.
It's not that kind of stuff, but we know where they all are.
There's currently no formal registration.
Okay, well,
program.
let's
In
go
one
back to
place.
something I said about, about slowing bigger boats down up harbor and people saying, well, who's gonna enforce it and everything. If it's not on the books, there's nothing to enforce. So even if it's something that they would be hard pressed to enforce, or they can't do it because they don't have the manpower, if there's no regulation, then there's nothing to enforce. So, and then something egregious happens, they can't cite something.
Well, here's something interesting, because the Concom sees all those pools that are next to the harbors. We have enforcement, we have regulations. If you're in a VR zone right next to Hummock Pond or in Mattocket, the ZBA also has jurisdiction and they have conditions that have to be met. And so if you're in violation of those or the Concom, and a lot of times there's crossover,
Well, the other
there
thing-
are other entities on the harbors that are dealing
Right.
with conditions.
So the other good thing about a registry too is that if there is something egregious, like the time in Monomoy where the guy drained his pool and it ran right
Ran down
down
the
into
street.
harbor.
Yeah.
If it's registered, they at least have a quicker contact point of who it is to say, hey, look, there's a problem here. If it wasn't you, it was your pool guy, you gotta talk to them.
There are illicit discharge regulations on the books.
Yeah.
That do regulate it. But there's no list where you bring up and you're like, I want every address of who has a pool. That doesn't currently exist.
I think they should, I don't see why that's a problem. In this day of computers,
Should
people should be
create
able
the
to
database.
register it, say, here's my caretaker's name, here's property, here's the pool, you have an alarm registration for your fire, your alarms in your house.
I understand his concern about having the people power to
Right.
enforce it, but I don't know if that means we shouldn't recommend it.
Well, we should recommend it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
I
what
mean,
I
we
mean.
have
And-
fertilizer laws that that
Yeah.
are really hard to enforce, but at least they're on the books. So if
I mean,
something
between-
really egregious happens, you've got.
Well, between the Concom, ZBA,
Mhm.
and the building department and the HDC, there is a
I don't-
compilation
yes,
of
My recommendation.
who has a
is
pool.
to
So
keep the
somebody can put
registry.
that together. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes up somewhere in a database, they can put all of those resources together.
Right.
Well, we have Rocky's comment from the health department. How's the natural resources department feel about it as the other responsible party?
I mean, I think there would be a way to set it up to do it,
Yeah.
to get people to do that.
Mhm. And maybe that's more a discussion on implementation rather than
Yeah,
whether
how
or
do you-
not we recommend
Yeah, I
it.
mean,
We recommend you register. The implementation committee is gonna figure
How
out
to create
set up
that
the registry.
database.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's
that
ways
makes,
of finding out
oh,
where they all are. Whew.
that makes
maybe
sense. And this also might be,
prioritizing.
if we're doing this survey,
Yeah.
it might be useful then, this is a low feasibility recommendation, if that's what you all believe. So we can, make that known.
I
In
think
that-
it's
Easy, go to.
How
the
low
pool.
it is when they're dropping it in the creeks or into the harbor.
Yeah,
and it sounds simple, but it's also not, because there's so many
Yeah.
that are spa sized or like the run of like plunge pools that are around now.
That's the biggest
Different
issue.
categories.
There's so many different categories, it's not like you could even do an exercise and look on the GIS.
Right,
Because I
well,
bet
all I
you
know is.
that less than 50.
Except you still
My
need a
one
building
block in
permit for it.
Monomoy on the harbor,
And
more
it's
houses
safe.
have pools than
Getting
don't at this
organized
point.
information.
Could be a WPI project.
Well, that would be something. They'd have to combine all the databases. It's all there. You still need a building permit for a spot, for a
Yeah.
plunge pool and a spa.
Anyway,
Okay,
Okay, so I think we all like keeping it in,
yeah.
even though we don't know how it will be done.
Sounds great. Okay, Libby noted that we should remove the natural
What page?
resources. Oh, sorry, we are on page 22. And Libby noted to remove responsible parties, under recommendation 3, which is require licensed applicants to renew licenses in person. This is, related to fertilizers. And
That's my page 20.
okay, maybe it's, so if you click on the comment, it will just jump you to the right page.
Got it. Then we have no responsible parties. Yeah.
Yeah, so then this would have, so I wanted to see if you guys agreed with removing those responsible parties, but then there is no responsible party for that one.
Well, that's our whole problem, is that we don't have a
Yeah.
responsible party.
Wait, honestly,
Does she suggest an alternative?
No, she just said remove
would
this,
say
but then there are no
that-
responsible parties.
that license is by the books issued by health.
Yeah.
They could be the responsible party.
Okay,
Not the police department. I can understand why she wants that out.
I mean, hasn't it been
Well,
both?
the police do have
departments?
enforcement authority in that it's a town regulation,
Yeah, I don't
Unless it-
understand why we don't have all 3 of you.
but I think at least with health, they're the holders of the actual regulation, so. I think that can work.
Well,
Did
should
she
we
s-
add health department then?
Yeah, but do we
I-
really want to
yep.
remove the other 2?
No. Because things may change. We may get more of a grip on this at some point for the state.
So,
Well,
I
again,
mean, if police have enforcement
Well-
capacity,
I would say the difference being here, and not to defend, because I don't mind having all 3 there, is. Technically, that license is issued by health,
right?
and whether they're renewing at. Police station, natural resources, health department, the Stop and Shop, wherever they're renewing, or that's eligible to be to get those new materials. Health is definitively the hub of that wheel, just because they're the holders of that and the issuer of that.
I think it makes sense to have them be first on the list, but
I don't think it hurts to have the other 2.
I
yeah,
don't either.
I say we
Yeah.
leave the other 2 and put health first.
Why would we have a recommendation with nobody responsible for the
That doesn't
recommendation?
make any sense.
That'll come back to bite us.
okay. So another comment, let's see, why is this not jumping? Another comment from Rocky.
Page,
Let's see, it
Favorite.
says develop, so recommendation 6 on the same page says develop reporting mechanisms for licensed applicants to report fertilizer use for the prior year during the license renewal process. So Rocky said, is this intended to be a Board of Health regulation? And if so, state it here.
all right, hold on.
well. Responsible parties is health department.
Yes, because
Hmm.
it already is a Board of Health regulation. This is just a recommendation to
Continue.
add an additional requirement to their licensing,
Yeah.
Right. if possible. Yeah,
All right, then we have to say it that way.
yeah.
Add, sorry, say that one more time, Emily. Add additional.
Well, I mean, we're basically looking to add an additional condition for license renewal within the existing Board of Health regulations.
Wait,
Is that right, or am I?
I
saying
don't
that
think
wrong?
that needs to be rewritten at all.
I think it's pretty clear,
I mean,
right?
If
For
you're gonna develop it, I
During
think
the
to
license.
develop it, you have to do some level of feasibility assessment in developing it. So I think that's fine as is. I think we're
Okay.
trying to work.
So it's another thing for the implementation committee to figure out if.
Well, let's not give him too much credit over there.
I mean, I guess I was a little confused by his question
Yeah,
because,
I also say, and Rocky and I talked about it from time to time, so what I'm saying is. Rocky is also just kind of going through the fertilizer regulations for,
Mhm.
you know, he's fairly new to them.
Right.
So sometimes it's. I know sometimes he's asked about how that's being interpreted or what's
Mhm.
going on, so
Mhm.
who's
Okay.
this?
the director of the health department.
Oh, I didn't
Rocky
realize
Miramon
he
does.
spelled it that way.
Yeah. Rocky. So he's just still familiarizing himself with the regs
Yeah.
as part of it.
Yeah, this wasn't part of what his strength was when he got here at all.
All right, well, let's jump then to the next question, which we've discussed quite a bit. But Libby notes, so if we are on recommendation 3, and for some, it's going to be page 25. This is about the surtax, the potential to charge an additional surtax to visitors and tourists.
Is this
And-
the lip comment?
Yeah, this is a Libby comment, saying it is not legal in Massachusetts.
Right.
I do not think it should be listed. The ways in which visitors can be charged in some way is differently from residents in Massachusetts is extremely restricted.
And how did we do it? Oh. Yeah,
Setting up the differential fees would be difficult between tourists and then residents. But then also saying that kind of surtax or charge is not legal in Massachusetts.
so we should remove this entirely?
Yes.
That's
What about Jack's comment right below that?
My notes from our earlier meetings, probably going back at least a year, was that you didn't like the recommendation that we were supposed to remove
No.
it. And then I looked at what she's talking about, and she's right. It would be very difficult to implement. There's case law on towns trying to do something like this. Not exactly. It has to be voluntary. It has to be targeted to some specific asset that the visitors are taking advantage of, that kind of thing. And I would note that Hawaii hasn't passed it yet. It's been pending for a number of years. But there are places like Galapagos Islands and places that have done it. And I would argue that Nantucket is in a sense very much like those two places, but it's a tough thing to do. It was a revenue generation idea that maybe we could revisit years from now.
All right, take it out then.
Could you just end the recommendation after the word enforcement in the first sentence? And take away the idea?
Yep.
Because then you could determine ways to enhance funding for increased environmental monitoring and enforcement. So then you're not tied to an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like that.
But it still
And-
kind of emphasizes the need to find funding to do those things.
Right.
Sure.
And the funds could be used to improve local natural resources. That could be kept.
Yep.
You leave the responsible parties in, because those are the people that are gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, great. Good idea.
Okay.
All right.
Wait a minute,
Yep.
didn't Jeff just say, just remove enforcement?
No. he
No, I said remove the text after enforcement.
One
Oh,
potential,
after enforcement,
get rid of
okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah, just remove the idea
Mhm.
that's causing the controversy.
Okay, I thought that if we removed enforcement, it could stay. Anyway, okay.
All right. Jody from the police department noted that if we write harbor master, we should actually be saying police department - harbor master division every time we say that.
Why?
I thought she was pulling away from the
No, he's
hub.
going to be his own self.
Why?
First one recommendation is to make them a standalone.
Yeah, they're not part of the police department.
Has that actually happened?
Yeah,
though?
they are.
Because the department
Yes,
doesn't
they
have
are.
a bunch ago.
Yeah, but when does it happen, Dave?
April 12th, 2012.
Wow.
2000.
What?
Wait, is when it became part of the police department.
That's
Right.
when I was no longer the harbor master in charge of my own department and went to work as the emergency
Whatever you
management
call it.
coordinator.
Yeah, but now she's becoming her own department again, is she not?
Well, we've made that recommendation in here, but I don't believe that it's gonna happen anytime soon.
I thought that was,
That's
I
a,
thought
that's
that
a
was something that was
priority.
in the works and Libby was for that and that was happening.
That's a priority. If we're talking about priorities on our list, that's a priority,
Yeah.
big time. That's like at the
I
top
was
of the
told-
list.
I was told 3 years.
I don't think we should change it to,
I don't either.
it should be harbor master, that's what she is.
And this is gonna be potentially a 10-year plan.
Yeah,
I agree.
well,
Okay.
the dash should stay. Is that the question? Is that the question?
Leave out police department and.
Right.
Leave out the new wording, police department dash harbor master division and just leave it harbor master.
Exactly.
You'll confuse people if you have that long one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's currently what it is now. I
Right.
don't know, Jeff, what do
I'd
you
say
think?
99% of the people I speak to have no
That's
idea.
like saying the town biologist hyphen natural resources department.
Mhm.
yeah, but we gotta deal with the current situation because this is a
Yeah.
current plan.
No,
So-
I know that. But what I'm saying is that's just like what I just said. Every place it says town biologist, then under this thinking, it should then say town biologist hyphen natural resources department. No.
Bill, you got an idea about this one?
I think just leave harbor master.
Okay.
Harbor master.
You know,
I vote for harbor.
thank you,
master.
Jody. We appreciate your comment.
Mhm.
I mean, should we somewhere in the plan acknowledge that the harbor master is
Currently,
currently part of the police department?
Well,
as
I
of the
think it
date
is-
of this plan.
I think it is in there, and the fact that we recommend they become their own standalone
Yeah.
department again. So that, in that recommendation, that acknowledges that they're not a standalone and.
Well, they've still got, the way it is right now is that the harbor master is a division of the police department, which it should never have been in the first place.
Why would this person think that having that title that way, the way she said?
Well,
it?
Jody's the police chief.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why does she think it should be that way?
She wants,
Because that's how they
Yeah.
are currently.
That's how it's
organizationally
currently
set up.
organizational, and that's how it's
Yeah.
set up right now.
That's fine, but maybe that could be somewhere in the plan, at the beginning of the plan, wherever we first mentioned her, but for the rest of the plan, she's the harbor master.
Right, and her second comment about a hyphen in there, it's harbor master, it's one word. You can do it the other way, but the accepted way is harbor master.
All one word.
Right.
But
All
that-
one word.
I haven't met the new chief of police, but it sounds like she's exerting some sort of control. She wants everyone to know.
Well, that's the structure she inherited.
Okay,
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Exactly.
We should recognize it somewhere in the plan,
Mm.
at least if we don't put it everywhere.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll find a spot to put it. Maybe it's the first recommendation that the harbor master is noted.
It's currently,
Like in a
Okay.
contract.
I mean, I guess we could put it everywhere, but.
oh, Jack, you have a comment that says harbor master is in 2 words and both capitalized.
Yeah, all I was just pointing out is looking and see how you used it. And the code says harbor master 2 words and your website uses both ways. So I was just trying to give you some basis for how you might decide that.
So a little schizophrenic here. Does anybody have which way you want to go with
One
it?
word.
I don't think it
Let's
doesn't
just
really
take it
matter as long as we're consistent.
Harbor master.
One word.
One word.
Okay,
I'm not the person to ask.
all right.
well, you
Oh,
can just
boy.
ask Sheila.
I used to represent those guys, the entire state, and it's one word. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
That's
Okay.
my opinion.
Sounds good. Okay, next comment is page 27, recommendation 4. And it's determine if and how salt marshes could retreat inland to avoid additional salt marsh loss. so the Nantucket Planning and Economic Development Commission was, that they were asked to, or at least Meg Trudel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name right, but she said that
Trudell.
that should be removed from that
It should be.
recommendation. Would you
It should
guys
be.
agree with that?
Yes. It's Trudell, because I was on the planning commission, and they have nothing to do with this.
Okay,
Agree.
I mean, if at some point there were ever any kind of, yeah, but right now there's nothing in zoning or.
okay. This, I don't think we need to do anything with. I'm asking for more information on one of these. Okay. So the next one is page 30 under its goal 2, objective 1, or sorry, it's objective 2 under, what is this under? Natural resources. So, Michael from IT
Just
said
one.
that, what's that?
Yeah. There's one right under the ones we just talked about.
Yeah,
Um,
those are ones that I am asking for other people for more information on.
all right, so you're asking Yvonne for that information?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, where did we go next?
Who's Yvonne?
29 or 30.
From
Dude,
the Nantucket
just-
Field Station.
Oh, okay.
And the
Okay.
next one, Michael
The-
from IT?
Yeah, objective 2, which is ensure the best available data are used to inform decisions. Michael from IT thought that this was too vague and asked if we should remove it.
Why?
Do include objectives like this quite often in plans. But did you guys have thoughts on it?
I've never liked the word ensure, you know that.
I'm trying to think of what, from his perspective, the concern would be. About it being vague.
Mhm. He is
I don't-
listed as a responsible party, for for that recommendation. So maybe he's looking at it and thinking, what am I gonna do with this?
Well, when whatever outside body collects the data, he's going to have to figure out how to display the data.
Right,
For people to
GIS maps, et cetera.
Mhm.
You know,
I think we leave
think
it,
it
I
should-
think that's just Mike using his IT brain. I think it's fine.
Right?
that,
Like, it's
that's,
not-
yeah, I think you leave it alone, and if he gets taxed with doing something, then that's too bad. That's part of his job.
Yep.
It's kind of meant to be a catch-all.
Well, could you add another sentence after to inform decisions to be made about issues related to the harbors? Or, just another half of a sentence, maybe?
Mhm.
That's this.
Okay, leave it as it is then.
Yeah.
Let the scientists do the science. IT can figure out how to put it on the screen.
Exactly, exactly. Let them
I'll
do
say-
their job.
I'll say that to Mike's face.
Okay.
Is that Alvarez?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
it's just his IT brain. That's just how
yeah,
it works.
that's true, yeah. His father was a retired coastie.
Yep.
yeah,
Okay, the next comment was just a back and forth between me and Kristen. I think somebody in their review noted that on page 35, recommendation 4 was actually a duplicate of a recommendation that's higher up. So we can just make sure that that's actually included and it is a duplicate. We don't have to worry about that one.
okay.
Okay, this question is, so the next one is on page 42 under goal 1, objective 1, recommendation 1. So the example given, so it's ensure that these access points do not result in unreported taking of shellfish by designated specific unloading areas. And then the example is there are ongoing issues with the squid fishery that require additional enforcement, potentially through hiring more staff. Do we have information to back that up or?
The only,
Mhm.
I believe the squid fishery they're talking about is recreational squidding off the town pier, which
Mhm.
leaks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
Definitely.
leaks squid ink onto boats, and people get aggravated because they have to clean their boats. It doesn't have to do anything with hiring more staff or any of that. It's just, you know, it's like somebody who cleans a fish and leaves a mess.
Mhm.
It's life. It's what happens.
Well,
People
it's
do.
it's worse than that. It's actually worse than that, Dave, you know, because the
Okay.
squid ink gets on there, it permanently stains gel coat.
Well,
once it
what,
dries
then,
on there. So it's doing physical damage to someone's personal property, but that's.
I thought it was-
but I totally, Steve, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with you on that. But
I think,
I don't know how, unless, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I don't think potentially hiring more staff is the answer.
What they were talking about doing this summer, and I think they did to a certain extent, but not very thoroughly, was they would send some of the summer specials down the town pier, walk down there every once in a while, because they did, I know people that were told not to do it by summer specials, but.
yeah, I think Sheila had expressed a concern on this one, just that trying to enforce that might require more staff.
Right.
Because she didn't feel like she had the people to,
And it probably would if you really want to enforce it,
Yeah.
because
Well, she needs
you
more
have
staff,
to have
period.
a roving security force down there.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, maybe time for that. This, things are out of control sometimes down there.
It's a problem. I mean, I've dealt with squid ink a lot in my career, and it's not like just hosing off bluefish blood.
so
No, that's true.
Fish for scooping,
Is
just cut 'em off.
the question whether this is an appropriate example or,
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
I don't, as I'm reading the recommendation, I'm not sure if it's an appropriate example in that spot. Because it doesn't sound like, is the squid fishery actually an issue regarding unreported taking of shellfish, or is it
No,
more?
no, no, no. No,
Yeah,
it's just, it's the ink.
it's the
I
ink.
think this needs to be put somewhere, but
Okay.
not under public access.
Okay.
And,
Is
and
it
Steve's
just
point, or
the
whoever brought up the point about possibly, summer specials, you know, while they're on their bike patrol or whatever, you know, and also it's a very finite period of time.
Yep.
It's not like squid are there for 6 months,
You know, and
right,
it's-
Steve?
Yeah, that's right. It's early season and, you know, it does go on till people are down there 1 or 2 in the morning. So I mean,
Right. Right.
Sheila's staff she doesn't have
It
night
needs
staff,
to be somewhere, but not under public access.
right? But
Mhm.
that's, yeah, it's in the wrong place.
What is the recommendation? People are allowed to squid fish. They just need to be educated on how not to make a
Technically,
mess.
no, right now on the town pier, they are not allowed to squid fish.
Okay.
and people are still
People are
doing
still
it.
doing it and there's no enforcement.
Okay, perfect.
There are signs down there that say,
Wow. Back in the day, we could do it anytime, anywhere we wanted.
back in the day, I had a charge account at Nantucket Mines when I was 16 years old.
Okay. So
Turn
more
21.
enforcement and education. And signage, did you say signage?
I'm sorry?
Did we want also signs, that say you can't do it, or?
I believe they have signs down there.
But aren't we gonna move this somewhere?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got-
We'll move it somewhere. Just thinking of what the recommendation would be. We're thinking education and enforcement for,
Signage, yeah.
and signage. Okay, potentially signage if it's not there. Okay, great.
the Steamboat Port.
All right, petrol landing. So somebody did note that they didn't feel like there was enough of an emphasis on petrol landing in the plan. So that was one
where-
thing.
Where's our land bank rep?
He's not here today.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Well, we're still in
We talked
litigation.
about petrol landing quite a bit and,
Still litigation.
and
But the litigation
litigation
involved.
was still on.
I thought it was solved.
It was
Now who's appealing who?
pending resolution.
Yeah, I didn't think it's not done,
It's all
done,
done.
not done, as far as I know.
I know one of the houses, the house right next to it just sold.
Dealt with that guy before.
He just sold it.
Oh, thank God. He's been down there forever.
No, he hasn't, because I know the guy who built that house.
The
Well, then
house
it's
that
not the
we-
same guy that sued, the guy next door to my other client, because I've worked with the guy that sued him, because he's
Yeah.
a real pain in the ass. He's been down there since the
Yeah.
70s.
Mhm.
Kim, you need to reach out to, the lady's name escapes me now from the land bank.
Rachel.
Rachel?
Yeah, Rachel,
Okay,
we need to reach out to her and have her
Yeah.
give you an update of where they're at on the improvements to that property.
okay.
Yeah, what's appropriate.
And
for
the
writing
litigation
here.
involved here.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe they,
That's what's held it up all
they
these
may have
years.
given something away to get it approved too. It may
Yeah.
not be the
I mean,
150
we
feet.
reiterated in the SHAB recommendation that something, in quotes, should happen there, even if it's just a limited addition of a dinghy dock.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay,
we need an update from her.
Happen here.
Yep. okay, great. I'll go to her. Okay,
That's a perfect example of a place that if they do build this now, they should incorporate all the disability accessibility to it.
You betcha. It's low enough.
Yes, sir.
yep.
I mean, it's not built. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, Nantucket Community Sailing did provide a number of comments on the plan. And, they basically said they would be involved in some different activities, mostly involving education. One thing that they said was that, and they also said they'd be willing to be on the implementation committee if that was useful. But they did say it would be extremely helpful to have shore-based facilities, including sheds, water, electricity, and bathroom facilities. And this, sorry, it's on page 44, and this is, I think it's just in general at various different public access sites. So we do have information about that in some of the public access recommendations. I'm not sure anything else needs to be done with that.
This is a real hot button for community sailing and the Board of Health,
Mhm.
because their rules, Massachusetts rules on the books. That when they are defining, Massachusetts is defining community sailing as a camp. And
Mm,
if you camp, you have to have all these things.
gotcha.
It's a problem.
Aren't they still operating out of the Great Harbor, that other building over there though, at the moment?
No, they're operating out of the jetties and then up in Pulpus.
Their
Because they
offices
used
are
to-
up in Winter
They
Street.
used to give them, when the Great Harbor used to give them that extra building there in the next to the parking
Well-
lot for years. They
Yeah,
were in
They've
that
been
building.
out
No,
of Focus
they've
Harbor for
been-
like, what, 15 years?
They don't have any buildings, but they own
More than that.
They have a building right there.
Well,
One
they
across the
also,
street.
their facility is out Bunker Road where they have their
Right,
their
but they do
sheds.
not have.
There's storage.
The
That's
problem,
housing.
the problem with community sailing, and it's a real problem, is they're two locations. They have absolutely no control over. One is Jetties Beach and the other is Pulpus.
Yeah,
Who owns the Pulpus property?
The town.
Well, it's private individuals giving them access.
Right.
And,
The
that
porta
started-
potties are not sufficient?
I don't know about that, but all I know is it's public, it's by the grace of some public, some private individuals that are letting them be there, and kids and grandchildren stuff, the attitude's starting to change.
and they
so
gotta
have-
pay down at the
They
jetties.
have no control over it.
And they have to pay a fee down at the jetties to have that little shed with a
Right.
solar on it and all the rest of it down there.
But again, that's to the whim of the town.
Hmm.
So they don't,
That's
no control.
That's one of those things that, was set up and everybody was, very supportive of community sailing initially, and now people are, I don't know, why they're trying to make their life more complicated and difficult, but
Who's the
Yeah,
pushback?
Well, I
What?
mean, there's no pushback, it's just the reality
Yeah.
is that you have a program where
Right.
you've got 1,000 kids learning how to sail,
Mhm.
and you are at the pleasure of the town and a couple of private individuals.
I don't know what the
That
answer to
could,
that one is.
overnight change their mind.
Yeah, I mean, as you look further in the recommendation, they just say that they desire a year-round facility in the downtown waterfront area, which I know is already packed, such as Petrol Landing. And,
I mean, I've been supporting them since day one. And I was the reason they moved to Pulpus Harbor, because 2 of their sailboats got run over by the steamship.
mm,
And because they used to hold their classes in the channel. So
mhm,
we moved them to Pulpus, and everybody's been supportive of this thing for a million years. Not to be critical, but but maybe over all of these years, it's been 30 years, all of
Mhm.
these years, they should have been looking to buy a piece of property.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
so right now, Phil's right, they operate at the whim of the
David, I
property.
can promise you that if there was a piece of property that
I think
came
they're
up, they
affordable.
would have bought it.
Yeah.
Don't think they wouldn't have.
There's nothing for sale around the harbor like that.
Mhm. Yeah, they know
I
they
used
would
to
be
be a-
happy to work with the Land Bank and the Conservation Foundation to find suitable long-term access to the harbor in Pulpus Harbor area. Um,
Well, Land Bank has property on the creek in Matticat. They have property right,
The only other area I can think of is,
several people now.
is the thing at the end of Cathcart Road.
Yeah.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
wondered, do you think,
Neighbors would
Neighbors
pitch a
would
fit there.
bitch about that.
That would be tied up in courts for years and
There's
they've
no
got a lot of
parking
money
there.
down there. What about, I mean, this is not for us to decide, but Land Bank just bought all that property in Pulpus Harbor. Could that be used for anything? Is it just too
I
shallow?
don't-
Shallow.
I haven't heard.
We used to water
mention
ski
of-
in there.
I haven't.
Stopped skiing and I met my ankle.
Land Bank getting picture.
Yeah,
It's really this family that's been very generous and very accommodating. And the kids now are getting in the.
so I don't know that this is something that we can recommend
No, we
happen
can't.
because this is, we're not.
Yeah, but that's, all I'm saying, that's where this comment's coming from.
Yeah.
do you
Yeah,
think
we-
we could include something about investigating areas where the Nantucket Community Sailing Group could buy
Relocate.
or be leased or something?
They would certainly welcome that.
It'd be a permanent home is what they're after.
They
Mhm.
would welcome that.
So I
mean,
don't know if it's more just investigating the potential, which maybe will give them more teeth in trying to actually find a spot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or town controlled land that they could use in addition to the jetties.
It is a
Mhm.
501c3, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully
Yeah.
they'll get that building down on that property and maybe there's a piece that NIR, when they get it, could carve out for them close to Petrol. On that corner down there. Has to be a water dependent use according to the harbor overlay.
Yeah.
On the first floor of any building we're building down in that Wilk Square, if that happens. First
Yeah.
floor has to be water dependent. This will be water dependent.
Yeah, but there isn't any realistic area down there for them to really operate their sailing operations from there, just too densely populated with moorings and piers and everything else.
Right. That's why
You
the
have to-
jetties works perfectly for them.
All the way out to Hussey Shoal.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why
May-
Kentucky Yacht Club has the floats and.
Maybe when they're, maybe one of the recommendations is when they renegotiate their lease with the town for the jetties, that they're allowed to make improvements. They're allowed to make permanent improvements.
Mhm.
now you're talking Concom and you're talking a structure on the sand. That's not
You already-
happening.
You already got structures on the sand.
Yeah, but they're moving around in their little teeny weeny shed with a solar thing on top of it. They're not gonna get a big building down there.
I
It's winter-
think for the purposes of this committee, I don't think we can solve community sailing's problem, but what
No.
we can do is we can acknowledge the fact that this is a problem for them, and to the
Mhm.
extent there are solutions
Yeah.
that come up from, in the execution of the implementation plan, like a petrol lane or something else, that this is given, consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
about-
consideration to find them a permanent home.
How
Mhm.
about a coordinated effort to find
Right.
them?
I don't
Yep.
think that's town's job.
It's not,
Not at
but
all.
we can support that effort.
Cause should we find the land council a permanent home if they lose their home? Like, it's not the
I
time.
guess the point is, though, that if there was something that came up in the next 10 years
I like where you are.
that was involving the harbor and community sailing needed a green light from the state, that this plan has something in there that gives,
Support.
concern or interest in helping them, however that might be.
Seems a little
I
vague.
guess this just puts,
That's a slippery slope.
this would just put the support of the town behind community sale.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
it. We're not trying to find him a place, but
Right, exactly.
we're just recommending that, you know, if there's a possibility that he can get a place, we're all for it. And we're saying, you know, we recommend that this happen. And we hope that it happens. We're not gonna sign the deal and, you know,
That's right. All we're saying is that we support their, whatever recommendations or opportunities might come up in the next, 10 years that, could benefit community sailing. You can word it, Kim,
Anyway,
you can word it somehow.
Yeah, okay, I
Well,
can,
The parent, also take the ing off of these. You don't have ing on a lot of these other
Just
objectives.
in general.
Identify workforce, coordinate coordinate not coordinating, identifying. The ing is not really carried through the other rest of this, so. It's getting schizophrenic there with that ing part of it. But you're.
yeah, I think that's just related to objectives of the committee could include identifying. It's just, I don't know, it's an action.
Right, if you got the statement that you have here, developing internships for school students. Focused on the development of skills for maritime trades, including boating, sailing, and boat repair. That statement is fine. It's when you asked about the Nantucket community sailing, take that out. But leave the statement, because the statement's fine. Just take out the reference to Nantucket community sailing,
I just think in general in the plan, anytime you pick
a thing.
a 501c3
Yeah.
to be
Right.
named specifically,
Yeah.
all that's gonna happen is that, you list one and three more are gonna come out and say, why weren't we the ones that were listed? And unless it's something super specific,
And I noticed
it gets
that
dicey.
the
wait, what,
responsible parties are basically all town
Right.
affiliates now.
what,
right?
what other water dependent use that teaches sailing
Well.
has a
Doesn't matter.
501c3?
Well, the
that would-
problem-
You're not listing a 501c3, that's the problem.
That's
You
a
can't do
fair
that.
point, Peter, because what happens is then, when this has come up before the Board of Health, in addition to community sailing, you have the search schools, the guys,
Right.
you've got a lot of.
Then you're gonna
other-
have the Shellfish Association saying they want a place where they can, all their scalpers can specifically land and land their scallops.
Addressing that in this
No,
statement.
what I'm saying is that Peter
What?
makes a good point,
Yeah.
that it's.
But if you name one 501c3, then
Can't
others
do
are
that.
gonna be like,
Yeah.
Shellfish are like, why didn't you tell us we need a place to offload?
That's what I'm saying, just get rid of the rest of that sentence and just leave it as developed, because it could be some town
But
program.
the
It could
thing
be-
is that there are degrees of impact of each one of the uses. It's just sailing. Whereas Shab, we've been trying for years and hammering away to try and get a scrap of land at Petrel Landing so that commercial vessels can unload. And so that we could have an extra dinghy dock. And those people in the lawsuit are just battling the land bank saying, we don't want that, we don't want that. And that's a very, compared to sailing, it's a very intrusive use. So if this is to become a recommendation, we should be specific about the level of impact that we're looking, I don't know.
Well, this is
The
very
difference
skills
is-
here. It says skills for maritime
Well,
trades,
the
boating,
difference is
sailing, and
the-
boat repair.
The
such as-
difference is that with for example, the search school, that's not a 501c3.
No, it's
That guy's
profit.
It's a business.
And
I mean,
and they're leasing their property from the land bank out.
Yeah, but community sailing is, there are about 300 Nantucket kids every summer that get their lessons paid for.
I'm not arguing the value of community
No, we
sailing.
just don't-
I'm just saying
No, no, but
that there's so many, right? Like the Shellfish Association does programs to teach people how to scallop. Egan Maritime gets kids that are in school and does science, whether it's at the hatchery or through the new school. Like, there's so many competing interests that go through that. I think
We don't need to call one.
singling out one in the plan.
All right,
I
guys,
agree.
we've
It's-
gotten it out of the plan, so let's move on.
Wait, so, sorry, wait, what was
The
the,
rest of the sentence is fine, you just take out the reference to community school.
The parentheses
okay,
at the
Do
end.
you
Right, yeah.
also want us to remove any recommendation to help them find space, or does that removal of them just extend to that parenthetical?
It extends to anything that helps them do anything.
So don't add any recommendation about them looking for
I'm
space.
gonna get that
on
down
the
here
front.
again.
Is that right?
Hold on.
One thing to note, it is 2:30. I feel like we're having a lot of really important conversations, that I think we should, given our timeline, which I was gonna share a slide with the timeline, but I don't think we have time right now. I'm wondering not to double down, but if people have time in a week to kind of resume going through these comments so that, because we do need to get this over to the town and get it over to the state to start moving it all forward. Wanted to see what you guys thought about meeting in a week, or if you want to wait for 2 weeks, but we do still have other comments to go through. And I want to be clear about what we should do with the community sailing.
I'm not here, in New Hampshire, middle of the White Mountains on October
All of
6th.
October? Oh, October 6th, okay.
October 6th. And then the following Monday is a holiday.
So we
Yeah.
should-
So if we're gonna meet, we should meet in a week.
All right, I will not be. here.
2 weeks from now is the 29th.
Certainly meet without me.
I'm here on the 29th.
What about the 22nd?
I'm here both Mondays.
You're out the 22nd.
I can try. Never know yet.
All right, so what do we want to try for next Monday?
That's 22nd, after that's 29th.
Would we just do it all remotely if you're not here, Jeff?
I'll have something that can set it up.
I can't do the 29th.
All right, let's plan on next Monday then.
Yeah, I
Does that
think we
work?
should.
Next Monday work?
I think
I'll
we
try
gotta
it.
Wrestle this thing to the ground.
Okay.
I'm slinging in depending on what my boss told me I have to.
Kim,
Yep.
Kim, how much more do we have to go through?
So we have a few more comments, which the comments shouldn't take that long. And then it's just making sure everybody's okay with the track changes. So my guess with the comments is it's going to take another 15 to 20 minutes. And then wanting to make sure that there's nothing big with track changes.
Well, we gotta deal with the handicap thing and find out what it is your dad said.
Or, I mean, the other option is for people to really take a look at the plan and provide me with any final comments by the end of the week. And then we can, if people just agree to be able to do that, then we could move forward with this without a meeting right away.
Well, could you, Kim, by next Monday, could you do the cleanups that we went over today?
Mhm.
And the handicap thing.
Yep.
You know, so that we can see what you have, and then all we, and somebody has a comment, fine, we can talk about that, and then the rest of the meeting will be finishing the track changes that are from the rest of the document, which is not as much as we had today.
Yep. No, I definitely could do that before Monday. And I know I want to come full circle on what we should do with the community sailing program, which like that, I think that's important to just clarify. Yeah, so I can do that and send you guys it's going to be the same link, but I'll send it to you again so you could take a look at it, and we could meet next Monday.
And then you're gonna put together a survey?
Yes, and I'll put together
Uh,
the survey, and
Priority?
Who's
yeah,
that
I
survey?
might, what's that?
Us,
Okay, I'm just
just
like,
internally.
I'm not sending out another survey.
No, so I can,
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Every time you survey, it's like, oh my God,
so each prioritize.
okay.
Right.
Could I ask a quick question?
Mhm.
Jack, you've dealt with lots of these entities, 501c3s, et cetera. Can you help Kristen craft something for community sailing that, addresses everything that everybody said? I mean, you've dealt with a lot of these guys. Is there a way that we can kind of help them without, committing to finding them a piece of land?
We
I
can
think it's on-
talk that through.
I feel like it
What we
opens up,
can
a
do.
lot, Jeff said.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I don't think we should
I
mention them
don't
at
think
all.
we should either.
I think it opens up,
And I'm a big supporter.
yeah.
My son
same.
learned to sail there.
I am too. So maybe we don't mention them specifically, but just a way to, they've been around for a long time, and they haven't had a permanent home, and it's so important to the community. So maybe there's a way we can word that without calling it Nantucket Community Sailing. That's all I'm asking.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, Dave, the way we usually do it is we describe the use but not the organization. So I think in public
Oh.
access, we do talk about sailing, but maybe we can look and see whether or not we can make the
mean, it's-
language a little more specific about sailing lessons.
I mean, it's similar to the way the school operates at either the boat basin or the yacht club. You know what I mean? They don't have a permanent place, but it's important. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking of.
Mm.
Yeah, how about we kind of look at this and we can discuss it a little more next week, but see if there's something we can include that doesn't, you know,
Specifically say
that
that.
makes everybody feel comfortable. And then they also asked to be listed under different responsible or participating parties, and I want to make sure that's okay with people, or if we should just remove all of that. And we can discuss that. at the next meeting.
Community Sailing wants to be listed as a participating.
Well, there's 3 of them.
Yeah, they
Sorry,
do, for various different, I think mostly education, recommendations. Yep. Okay, yeah, so something for us to also just talk through.
Yeah, think about that.
Kim, the other thing just to share, I think maybe we should table the prioritization survey until we finalized all the recommendations. So maybe we don't do that for Monday, but we do it after.
We just know that Harbor Master is at the top of the list.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I think first we should go through Monday's meeting.
She wants more help.
Yeah, but she may not have the added responsibility.
She also doesn't police station anymore.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, thanks guys for spending an extra 10 minutes with us, and we'll make some edits, send that back around, and we'll meet next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
All right,
good.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we do need to adjourn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we gotta adjourn. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn at 2:38. Peter made it and everybody jumped up and did it at one time. Steve,
Agreed.
Emily,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
myself, yes. Thanks, everybody. Good work.
Thank you.
Yeah.